Hey, welcome to the 24/7 Marriage Podcast. I am Javier,
I'm Shannon.
and we're so glad that you are here.
You didn't say that we're the original marriage flippers.
We are the original marriage flippers. What does that actually mean? That we love to flip marriages? Maybe people don't know who are listening to this, like how that came about. Do you want to tell them? Marriage flippers.
Oh, well,
Well,
I
maybe
actually,
some people don't know.
we've been called that for like the last 4 years.
Correct?
But where it came from, I actually don't know.
Shannon,
What?
restoration.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm saying tell them maybe they have listened and they've heard that, but they never heard like
Oh,
why.
yes. Well, like any good flip, any good restoration show, and we all love them. Chip and Joanna, there's so many of them. We love to see something that's dilapidated, that's falling apart, that has so much potential, and then they flip it. And we believe that to be true about marriages is that your marriages could be the wallpaper could be peeling off your marriage. The foundation
Some
could
red
have
paint.
cracks in it. Maybe there was a little fire damage, but we believe that restoration, repair, healing can come to your marriage.
Yeah.
And that's why we believe that we can flip your marriage.
Not that we can flip your marriage, that your marriage can be flipped.
We can help you flip your marriage.
With God. Yeah. It's this idea of renewal, of restoration, of redeeming the story. And so, so that's where that kind of came from, this idea of like being able to bring restoration and healing and see something new. Right? Because often we say that it's like you need a new marriage, like that marriage, like nobody wants that marriage. Maybe it's been difficult, there's been struggle, infidelity. Like, no, hopefully it's the same people in a new marriage.
Yes. Can we just talk about the awkward photo laying on the edge of the counter? Can you grab it for me? Okay, this fell out of some. Where did it fall out of?
This is Javier.
1992. Before we were married.
I have no idea.
You were standing.
But I had a mustache since I was like 13 years old. I've only shaved this thing up here. I have no idea what my upper lip looks like. I've only shaved this thing once.
I can tell you what you look like. You look like a turtle who lost his shell.
I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this if you're watching on the pot. If you're watching,
you got to go right up there.
So look at.
Whoa.
Look at that. I have no idea where I'm at with this wood paneling and what I'm doing with my fist right now, but yeah, that's where I'm actually at. So,
do you know what's going to bug me about that photo?
No.
Is I'm gonna spend all day trying to figure out where you were. Like I'm trying to figure out where that closet is. It could be in Morro Bay at Aunt Dixie and Uncle John's.
Yeah, I don't
know.
Maybe.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, why? Yeah, look at me, so handsome with that Errol Flynn, that little mustache, little thing on top of my lip, like a dead caterpillar.
Did you? So, like, walk us through that. Like,
there's no walking through it, Shannon. It's just
no, so, like at 12 or 13, you started growing hair on your lip, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I should keep
issues
this."
growing up, Shannon, and so it's like I felt, oh, this is manly. This is like masculine and strong. Like, yeah, I'm the only one with a mustache. Look at me, and like people probably laughed at me. I mean, because then later I had a mullet. Like I worked really. Maybe it's part of another podcast.
No. Let's make it this podcast.
No, we have other stuff to talk
about. No. We can save that for another podcast. I would love to dive into this. No, because obviously you like go through puberty and like you got facial hair, and so you decided like maybe I should keep this.
I'm a good Latin kid, and like you got facial hair, you keep it, man. I mean, if I've got it, like why not hold on to it? All right,
you kept it. You rocked it.
And listen, you dated me. Like, you liked me in junior high school with that mustache. She's like, maybe I was all you could get.
To my defense, my frontal lobe was not yet formed.
Which means what? Like, you had no concept of actually what, like, handsome was?
I made poor decisions.
Really? I was one of your poor decisions.
You are not one of them.
So dating me with a mustache and a mullet and a trench coat, actually, I don't think I wore a trench coat in junior high school, did I? Oh, I
Yes.
probably did.
Yes,
I don't know
you
why.
did.
I wasn't one of those people. Like I wasn't like
It was pre-Columbine for
I
sure.
don't know what it was. I have no idea what it was. But look at me, like a fine wine. I have aged very very well.
Oh, and honey, I think that you are so hot and so
Thank
sexy,
you.
and I
I
tell you all
received.
the time, I freaking love you. I actually told
Well,
you in the car the other day, and I do this to you often. It's mostly just to get your goat to mess with you, but I told you that I'm pretty sure that I love you more than you love me, and now you just agree with me. You're like, yeah, yeah.
that comment is just so.
Actually, what you said in the car is, you know what, Shannon, I really, really, really like you a lot.
Because when you say stuff like that, I I yes, I kind of like and that joke because you're like, I know, I love. It wasn't like a serious moment like where you were crying, like.
No,
So I just joked back. You're like, you're right. I have a really strong like for
I
you.
know.
Like I'm playing with you, but
Yes.
I'm giving back to you. I'm like, Shannon, really?
Yeah.
So it's not this debate about who loves one another more. Like,
No, I
listen,
just think that I have moments of very intense, strong feelings for you that I wonder. I'm like, does Javier just sit around thinking about I it's so funny to say out loud.
mm,
Do you ever just sit around and like just cry and weep over how much you love me?
no. I know I love you. I don't sit and cry and weep over it. Now, when you send me nice cards or write me nice things,
Maybe it's the
or tell me
menopause.
that I'm not doing good and I need to step up in other areas, yeah, I have tears. But no, I don't sit in the corner thinking
Don't make it sound like I
like,
only send you letters and tell you things that
no,
you're
you don't.
messing up.
You don't, Shan. You don't.
Okay.
So, but uh, yeah,
Is
yeah.
it bright in here?
You
Because
love
I don't feel like I
you
can open my eyes all the way. I'm struggling
you
this
love
morning.
me. You love me during those early seasons of my of yeah awkwardness. So, um,
Weren't we
but
both awkward?
that's true. I mean, none of it. We didn't avoid saying the difficult things to each other, and like we didn't, and that kind of segues to what we were talking about. It'll probably be a little bit shorter podcast today, but like we didn't avoid the things in our marriage that we needed to talk about, and even
Oh,
early on in our
wait, we did avoid them
we did.
early
Oh,
on.
early on.
Oh,
I
yeah,
say now we don't, but early on we did avoid certain things that we didn't want to talk about, even things that could end your marriage. Of not wanting to speak to those things, and I hope people like discuss the difficult topics before they get married. But oftentimes these things come up during marriage, of course. But it was we wanted to talk just briefly about this idea of um, the silent killer, like the things that could end your marriage, which is basically saying the danger of avoiding the unspoken issues or the danger of not communicating the difficult things when they do come up.
yeah.
So many couples we talk to, they are avoiders. Uh, do you feel you avoided early on in our marriage of talking about the difficult issues, the unspoken
Well,
things?
let's go back to family of origin. Did I grow up in a home of people who avoided tough subjects? Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So you learn it's a learned behavior from your environment you grow up in, and you can unlearn that behavior. Obviously, I've unlearned it now. But if you grew up in a home where the people in your home were like confronting lovingly and they helped each other grow and it was like this healthy atmosphere, yeah, you tend to address things right away, but I didn't see that growing up, so i I definitely avoided things. Okay, so this is super naive because we were really really young when we got married. I believe that if you just ignore it,
It'll go away.
eventually no, it wouldn't go away. Eventually, it would work itself out. And I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
that
A
there's a
lot of
lot
people
of
have that.
people believe that myth. I
Yeah.
know a lot of women that we've coached or done premarital with, and I'll ask them, "Hey, you're concerned and worried about this thing. How come you haven't addressed this with your fiance?" Well, I'm hoping that it'll just work out. It'll just go away.
Yeah.
It'll just dissipate on its own, and
Or, when we get married or, it'll be
it'll get
different. But
better.
even the guy thinks that. Yeah, no, I'll do that when we get married. Like, No, you won't. You're not doing it
And
now.
now you're not gonna do it
Whatever it
later.
may be, maybe it's communicating, maybe it's like learning how to serve, or whatever it may be. Like, you're not doing it now. You're not going to do it
Yeah.
later. You're not
Yeah.
going to just turn it on when you get married. Like, okay, now I'll be this incredible guy who pursues,
Yeah.
serves, loves, invests, and emotionally engaged. No, it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah. You need to be that guy before you get
Yeah.
married.
But I mean,
But
this is true of a lot of couples before they get married, and within your marriage, that silent killer are the things that you avoid, that you're not willing to talk about, because you feel like, oh, it'll get better. I'm just going to wait till it get better. So, that's just the way that he is, or the way that she is, and you avoid these things that might seem difficult. You don't want to discuss, or that you're hoping will change. And listen, to say that, oh, I hope it's just going to change. First of all, yeah, you're not responsible for the change. Like, you're not responsible to get them to change. Um, but you are responsible to bring up things, even if they're difficult, to address those things and have hard conversations, even if you're not sure of the outcome or how they respond. It is about how you say it, and and how you actually unpack it for them. But the avoidance of difficult conversations is a setup for marital
yeah.
disconnectedness, and disunity, for bitterness and resentment. So you're literally setting the stage to have a marriage that is disconnected, and for you to grow frustrated within your marriage.
But how but did you just hear how silly it sounds? How
Yeah,
silly it sounds to say that I think this issue will work itself
yeah,
out, and you're not working in a positive or negative direction towards that problem. It's just kind of sitting there. It's like a car in neutral. It's not going forwards or backwards, but you're pretty sure you're gonna get to your destination.
yeah,
No, you're not, because 'cause you're in neutral. Like, you actually have to put the car in drive or reverse. Like, it's not gonna go anywhere on its own.
yeah,
So, we tend to think by osmosis, somehow these problems are just gonna work themselves out. And there's a root issue to why we fall into the traps. One of them is because, especially with the women that I've coached and I work with, is that if I bring up these issues, it might end this relationship. It might,
and marriage.
we might not end
Yeah,
up getting married, because
we
this
may not
is
stay married
yeah, but I'm
within
talking about,
marriage.
um, like, in premarital.
Yeah,
They're like, if I bring this issue up, because they're more worried about ending up single
yeah,
than dealing with this problem in a marriage.
yeah.
It's like, so you would rather stay married and have a toxic problem in your marriage instead of being single now and living out healthy conflict and
Yeah,
communication now.
yeah. Well,
So
and so many
crazy.
will struggle, right, before and in marriage, like, well, I can't bring it to them because they're just going to respond this way. They're just going to say this, and we've talked about it before. And that should not prevent you, because here's the thing: you are still responsible to not have this silent killer within your marriage, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You're responsible to bring up those things that are difficult, that at times you do want to avoid, even if it's about you, something you've done, or it is about just something in the marriage you're working on, or something that there's been a struggle with them. Maybe how they're connecting, communicating, or they feel a little distant, or they've been working a lot, or they're engaged so much in their hobbies, whatever it may be. You're still responsible to bring that to your spouse and have that conversation. Now, I think the key thing in that is how you actually bring it to them, and how you have that conversation, and also the timing of that conversation. We've talked about this before. Often it's not, yes, it's not just what you say, it's how you say it, but it's
Yes.
also when you say it and the timing of that. So you have to look at all those things and say, this is not something that's easy, but how can I bring it so we can have an ongoing conversation? You could say something like, you are always doing this, and I'm so upset, and I haven't talked about it, but now I'm to the point where we've got to talk about this, because you're just so engaged in your hobbies, and you're not paying attention to me. We're not engaged. Like, I'm really upset. I'm really frustrated. Like, that is not healthy. That's not okay. Of how to bring, if you're bringing it up that way, as opposed to saying, like, is it okay if we spend a little time? There's something that's been on my heart that is like, it's weighing on me, and I don't think your intention is that you're doing this on purpose, but I feel at times like maybe what you're doing is a hobby. maybe it's golfing, whatever it is more important than actually us spending time together. It feels that way, and I have no problem with you playing golf, with you going out and enjoying that. But can we talk about it? Because I feel like there's a lot of time spent in that, and I would love to be able to see how we can maybe spend more time together, but you still get to enjoy golf. Like, that's a little bit more healthy,
Yeah.
but also don't do it when they're walking out the door with their bag.
Yes. There's also this responsibility of the other spouse that there has to be some extreme ownership, because what happens often in marriages, and I believe that it happens more with wives talking to their husbands, but it can be vice versa too. So it can go both ways. Of this, we consistently share an issue, and maybe it's like you shared it once in a gentle tone, and you're like, hey babe, can you
Yeah.
work on this thing, and could we talk about this more and maybe work out this issue? It's really been bothering me, and I want to talk through it. And you're dismissive. And then they bring it up again, and you blow it off, and you're dismissive. So by the time your spouse brings it up again, it's 100%.
Yeah.
The energy's up here.
Yeah.
We're yelling. We're
Frustrated.
using
Yeah.
you always, you never, and we're pointing, and we're being judgmental.
Yeah.
Um, and that makes a spouse want to shut down,
Yeah.
want to not share anymore,
Yeah.
want to avoid. Like, I'm not bringing up issues anymore because this is how it goes.
Yeah.
This is how it always ends up. Oh,
Sorry,
one of
people.
our
I
no,
always have to like turn it off because someone's trying to FaceTime me.
no, you don't want to know who it is.
It's always the
It's
same
always
person.
Michaela.
Yeah.
It's always Michaela. She loves to call right when we're podcasting. But so there's this place of coming together and understanding um, about how you're going to communicate and how you're going to handle conflict. And you've done this to me
Well,
too,
not just
where
conflict. Some people will handle conflict. They'll step into discussions and situations, but there's still these things that they avoid. Right? Sometimes they feel that they're the bigger issues. They'll have discussions about all these other things.
There's a reason they
but
avoid them.
There's the things that are the silent killers that they tend to avoid because they know, it's a hard conversation, or they've talked about it in the past, or they're just afraid of how their spouse is going to respond, or they just have accepted it, and so now they're at a place where they're frustrated with it. So I think there's like the conflict things that some people will step into, because we always say normalize your conflict because you're going to have conflict.
Yeah.
But I think it's the bigger things that can be silent killers because we don't address them.
Yeah.
And these small things become big, right? We always tell couples that your marriages don't die overnight because of these small, like, big events. It's the small things, it's the daily things that end up adding up, and the things that you don't bring to the table to have a discussion, even if it's not resolved. But if you don't bring it to the table, you're not going to begin the process of having resolution.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why you've stopped bringing it up.
Yeah.
You didn't just think that everything's going so great, we don't need to bring these issues up anymore. The reason you stop bringing them up is because you are constantly hitting a wall with your spouse. They're being dismissive of your feelings and your thoughts. There's no resolution. And for some people, you've played this broken record in your mind that she's always going to be this way. She's never going to change. This is how her mother is. This is how her grandmother is. This is just how they are. So it's not going to change. So why bring it up? So I'll just live with it. The thing is that when you live with it, it becomes like a cancer in your body, and it will grow, and it will turn into
Not treated. Yeah.
bitterness, resentment, and it becomes a source of contempt.
Yeah.
So now you're not just upset that your wife keeps doing this thing that you've asked for several years for her to stop doing or stop saying.
Yeah.
Now you are seething with like vengeful thoughts and feelings over this little thing because you've told yourself, I can't address this because this is how it will go.
Yeah. And even if the response is not what you intended, or they don't receive it well, you're still, again, responsible for having the conversation, and they're responsible for how they respond to it. And again, a lot of that is going to be how you unpack it.
Yeah.
we're going to bring this horse in the barn because it's a little bit shorter podcast, but um, I want to just give you guys something that you can do if this is something for you that you're navigating about having a difficult conversation about something you've avoided. I want to read you this: that your marriage problem or difficulty didn't happen when the problem happened. So just think about that. We think, oh, I got to address it now. Like this problem came up. Your marriage problem or difficulty didn't happen when the problem happened. It basically, what choices, decisions, and habits led to what you're experiencing today. So we think, oh, this just came up. Like, probably not. It's probably been there, and something has led up to that. Choices, decisions, and habits have led up to that. People think, oh, this problem just came up. Like, no, trace it back. It's probably got some roots somewhere else and something that you haven't addressed, that you haven't talked about. And maybe it started off really small, where they just started like texting somebody and you found out about it and you didn't address it. Or you started noticing that they were kind of like hanging out with somebody a little bit too much, or liking someone's post. I'm just going down this trail. Um, and you didn't say anything about it, and you saw it. And then all of a sudden, like, it leads to something more, and now you find out they're having an emotional affair. Like, it should have been addressed from the very beginning. Now there's this bigger problem, but it really was something earlier that you avoided. Well, no, maybe that's not it, or this is too hard. What do I do? What do I say? Confront those things early on. When you see something, address it. Bring it to your spouse. Have a conversation. If it's on your heart, if it's something in front of you, then have a conversation with them saying, hey, I maybe this is not what I'm saying, but I want to have this conversation because I feel this is going on, or I'm
Yeah.
sensing this in our marriage right now. So I want to encourage you, have those conversations when you
Yeah.
see something that's going on, and don't be afraid. Don't be like this place that I don't know how to respond. They're going to get angry. They might not respond well.
Yeah.
They might react.
Yeah.
You control what you can in terms of how you have the conversation, the
What you say
environment,
when
the
you say it.
timing of it,
Yeah.
and come to your spouse and begin to have a conversation about it.
Let me just be vulnerable really quick because we've been married almost 32 years. And just this weekend, I brought a couple things that I wanted to talk to you about. And even me talking to you at 32 years in, and this is what we do for a living, I was like, I don't want to bring this up because, I just want to have a good day. I don't want to upset you because my heart is to never hurt you or upset you. But I was like, I really need to share how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And it went really good. And we crossed we crossed this bridge together and had mutual understanding. But I just want the husbands and wives that are listening, just because at 32 years we don't have it all figured out, that I had a moment of like, I could just sweep this under the rug and we can maybe talk to it later.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll
Yeah.
address it another time. But at that moment, I was like, I really want to talk about this because it is really bothering
Yeah.
me. And I had that moment of like, oh, right now. This is when I'm gonna do this right now, but you still have to step into it and check my heart, my motives, and know that, um, ultimately, we're for one another,
Yeah.
and we wanna fight for, um, unity, resolution,
Yeah.
and we got there.
Yeah.
And you might not get there on the first conversation.
Yeah.
But when we like, your how and your why and your when are so important, really lean into those. Those are
Yeah.
so important as you approach
No,
conversations with your
absolutely.
spouse.
Yeah. And so we just want to encourage you to take a moment, take a pause, and recognize what are those silent killers within your marriage right now, the things that maybe you have not addressed, and you know what they are. As we're talking through this, like, some things have popped up in your mind. We haven't talked about this. I haven't brought this to my spouse yet, but I know I need to, and I need to pray about it first, and I need to make sure that I have the right words. And if it helps you to write it down, to put in a letter, and to read to them, that's okay as well, right? If you need to text something to them or send them, Shannon will do that, and then we have to talk about it. If that helps you, it just can't be your only way of communication. So find a way. Okay, I do need to address this, and how will you do that, and the timing of when you're going
Yeah.
to do that.
Why does that
Um,
method work with you? Like, I text you and then we talk about it later.
because it just gives me time to process and to
Yeah.
read and understand the words, and it's in front of me. and it's just easier for me at times than just hearing it.
Yeah.
And so
You have to do what works for you.
you know what those things are.
Yeah.
You know exactly what's been going through your mind right now, and so we want to encourage you to address those things. Take a step to begin to address those areas that have been maybe they're unresolved. You brought them up in the past, but maybe there's a new way you have to bring it up, or maybe it is this silent killer you haven't addressed it yet, and you're concerned about doing that. This is your spouse. This is the person that you're called to do life with, that you're in the covenant of marriage with, and you need to trust God with that conversation, and even pray together before you have the conversation. So it's an important thing for you to step in. Do not avoid those things that can be silent killers within your marriage. And most couples do that. They'll come to us and they'll say, we'll ask them, well, have you talked about it? Oh, no. Well, how long has it been going on? Oh, for years. And so, well, I know how they'll respond. Maybe so. But you're still responsible to have these conversations, to move towards your spouse and to seek restoration in that area. And hopefully both of you to understand one another. So hopefully that's helpful. We love each and every one of you. Thanks for being part of the 24/7 Marriage family. Remember to go rate, review, subscribe to this podcast, share it with others. It helps us go up in the
Leave us
algorithm.
comments on Spotify, YouTube.
Yeah, remember you can also record a question you might have that we can take on the podcast by recording a voice memo, emailing it to us at info@247marriage.org. And always remember that in marriage, you don't have to.
You get to.
Have an incredible week. For listening to the 24/7 Marriage Podcast. Help us expand our reach by rating and leaving us a review on iTunes. Make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. For more information on the work we do and how to support the 24/7 Marriage, head on over to 247marriage.org and click on Partner with Us. Until next week, remember, in marriage you don't have to, you get to.